Very good morning to one and all. Hope you are all fine and doing well. Yes, you all know that we are dealing with the concepts of reflection of light on spherical mirrors. Yes, we have revised almost all the content that is connected with the reflection of light on spherical mirrors. All the numerical analysis, the diagrammatic part and the conceptual part was discussed in the earlier classes, including the applications or uses of spherical mirrors in our day-to-day life, and at the same time little more graphical analysis in between object distance and image distance. Some advanced concepts also we have dealt with the spherical mirrors concept. Now here in this particular class, I am going to explain little more descriptive part which is related to the proof of deriving a mirror formula and magnification. Of course, these proofs will not come across any competitive exam in the coming days because most of the competitive exams are all objective examinations at the highest standard. But only at schooling, as you need to get some knowledge, and some of the examinations at schooling will be descriptive mode. So, just for our subjectual knowledge, I am going to explain the derivation part of mirror formula and magnification in this particular class. Yes, you know that if the object distance is v and the image u and the image distance is v, then your mirror formula is 1 by v plus 1 by u equal to 1 by f. This is a mirror formula. Now here there is a systematic calculation part to prove this equation or to derive this equation. You can say rather than proof, you can say it's a derivation. Deriving mirror formula rather than proof. You write it as derivation. We are going to derive that. So how to derive this mirror formula? So in that case, first of all, let us take a concave mirror. Once you look at this diagrammatic representation. Here it is a concave mirror. Here is the geometric center of the mirror, which is known as pole, and here this is the principal axis of the spherical mirror. Here is the principal axis, and here it is the principal focus, center of curvature. Let us suppose a point object O is placed in front of a spherical mirror. Here is a point object is placed in front of a spherical mirror. Of course, it is beyond C. You have learned when the object is beyond C in front of a spherical mirror, concave mirror, you can find its real image in between C and F. Of course, the image is real, inverted, and diminished. So here a point object is placed. Anyway, its image will be in between C and F as the object is beyond C. So let me take a simple diagrammatic representation, a very simple ray diagram. See, look at this. Here there is an incident light ray. Here this is an incident light ray. You know very well, to locate the image in the case of ray diagram, we need at least two light rays. You know very well. This is one incident light ray, and the other incident light ray is the light that is passing through the principal axis. Of course, as the light ray passing through principal axis, it goes for normal incidence. I think you have idea of normal incidence, but let me tell you. If a light ray falls perpendicular to the surface, then we call it as a normal incidence. Shall I draw here? If it is a reflecting surface, a light ray falls on the reflecting surface perpendicularly, then it is a normal incidence. Don't think that their angle of incidence is 90. Here angle of incidence is 0. Since the incident light ray is along the normal to the reflecting surface and angle of incidence will be measured with the normal, so angle of incidence will be 0. So that you know in the case of reflection, I must be equal to R. So as I equal to 0, R will be equal to 0 in the case of a normal incidence. So when the light incident normally onto a reflecting surface, it will retrace its path, means reflects back along the same path. We call it as a retracing. Here in the case of spherical surfaces, any line that joins the curved surface through the center of curvature is a radial line, first point. And the radial line will be always perpendicular to the curved surface at that point. See, principal axis, along with the principal axis, you have radial line C to P, or PC is radius, because the distance from any point on curved surface to the center of curvature is called radial line. Of course, this is also radial line. You can see. This is also radial line, joining any point on the curved surface to the center of curvature, we call it as radial line. So CP is also radial line, means the light passing through the principal axis will be perpendicular to the curved surface, because radial line is perpendicular to the spherical surface. I repeat, radial line will be perpendicular to the spherical surface at that point. See, this radial line is perpendicular to the curved surface at the pole. This radial line will be perpendicular to the curved surface at this point. Let me suppose A for some time. So at the point A, this AC will be perpendicular to the curved surface. At the point P, PC will be the radius perpendicular to the curved surface. So that is the reason why this reflected light ray will retrace its path. So another reflected light ray is here. Another reflected light ray is here. Because you know, in the case of reflection, angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection, and the incident light ray and reflected light ray will be on either sides of the normal. So here AC acts as a normal to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence. So OA is the incident light ray, AI is a reflected light ray, I for image. Because this reflected light ray from the point A and the reflected light ray from the point P are going to meet at I to give the image. That's the image location. Hope you got clarity. Reflected light ray from A, reflected light ray from P are going to meet to give the image location. So obviously OA is the incident light ray, AI is the reflected light ray, AC is the normal at the point of incidence A. Of course, any light ray that is passing through principal axis will be perpendicular to the curved surface, will be taken into normal incidence with I equal to 0, R equal to 0. So the reflected light ray will retrace its path. Of course, anyway, this is angle of incidence I, and this is angle of reflection R, where I equal to R. And let me suppose this angle made by the incident light ray with the principal axis is alpha, and angle made by the normal with the principal axis is beta, and angle made by the reflected light ray with the principal axis is gamma. That's the gamma. And in this particular situation of deriving the mirror formula, I am supposing all are paraxial light rays. All are paraxial rays. Paraxial rays means the rays which are very close to the principal axis, we call them paraxial rays. So that alpha, beta, gamma, also IR values are very small. Under the condition of paraxial light rays, these angles are very, very small. Whenever the values are very, very small, for example, if theta is very small, then we can write tan theta is approximately equal to theta. You are familiar with the trigonometric ratios, so I don't explain much. If tan theta is very small, then tan theta can be approximately equal to theta. Sorry, if theta is very small. You may get that out. Sir, if theta equal to 1 degree, very small, then shall I write tan theta equal to tan 1 degree equal to 1? No. Theta is very small in the sense theta must be in terms of radians. Theta must be in terms of radian, don't forget. theta must be in terms of radian with very, very small value, then tan theta can be approximated to theta. Not only that, sin theta also can be approximated to theta. Under what conditions? Theta is very, very, very small. Tan theta is approximately equal to theta, and sin theta is approximately equal to theta. For the values are very, very small. I apply this condition while deriving mirror formula. See, so this is all the data that we are going to consider to derive the mirror formula. OA is the incident light ray, AI is the reflector light ray, I and R, angle of incidence, angle of reflection. But here now you can see in this triangle OAC, the triangle OAC, first you have tried this. In triangle OAC, beta is the exterior angle, so I can write alpha plus I equal to beta. So that immediately I equal to beta minus alpha. Next, in the triangle CAI, gamma is exterior angle, so I can write gamma is equal to beta plus R, because exterior angle will be equal to sum of the interior opposite angles. Then R equal to gamma minus beta, R value. So I have got equations for angle of incidence and angle of reflections in terms of alpha, beta, gamma. Now you know that angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. You know this. So if you are going to continue with that, beta minus alpha is equal to gamma minus beta. So that 2 beta equal to gamma plus alpha. Here beta I can write it as a tan beta, because when the light rays are paraxial, angles are very small, tan theta can be approximated to theta. So beta can be approximated to tan beta is equal to gamma can be approximated to tan gamma, alpha can be approximated to tan alpha. Now here how to get a tan beta value? Yes, coming to the point. From the point of incidence, draw a perpendicular line onto the principal axis. Let me take here, there is some M. So I have drawn a perpendicular line from the point of incidence to the principal axis. Then tan beta equal to, in the triangle AMC, I repeat, AMC is the right angle triangle. Tan beta equal to opposite side AM by adjacent side MC. So I can write this is 2 times of AM by MC equal to tan gamma. Tan gamma equal to AM by MI. AM by MI plus tan alpha. Tan alpha equal to OAM, right angle triangle. OAM, tan alpha equal to opposite side AM by adjacent side MO. So AM by MO. Here only, as all the light rays are paraxial light rays, here P and M will be very close. As the light rays are paraxial light rays, this condition is very important while deriving mirror formula. All the concepts of physics are explained under some terms and conditions. That's why theoretical physics always have some errors with experimental physics. Means you are doing 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F, you are calculating image distance. If you have gone into experimentation, the image distance will not be accurate as you calculated according to numericals. Because theoretical physics 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F calculation will be different from experimental physics while calculating V experimentally. That is called error, of course. So the terms and conditions, they are paraxial light rays. So that P and M will be very close. So MI can be taken as PI, MC can be make it close to PC, MO can be make it close to PO. And simultaneously cancel AM in all the terms. Then 2 terms of 1 by MC is close to PC. So like that, 1 by MI close to PI, MO close to PO. But here only the very interesting sign conventions. The distance of object from the pole to the object. The distance of the object from the pole is called object distance. So U is equal to P to O. P to O. So you are moving against incident light rays. That's why negative object distance. Next, the distance of image from the pole, Pi. Image distance V is equal to Pi. But in front of the mirror, real image, P to I. Against incident light rays, so negative. Next, PC, radius of curvature, which is PC. Of course, negative because concave mirror radius of curvature negative. As all are given, you can write here minus U is equal to PO, minus V is equal to Pi, which I need to substitute here, minus R is equal to PC. So let me substitute those values. 2 times of 1 by PC minus U according to sign convention. 1 by Pi minus V plus 1 by, PC is nothing but here radius of curvature minus R, here Pi image distance, PO object distance minus U. Now cancel negative term in all these negative sign you cancel. Then 2 by R equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U minus cancelled. But 2 by R is equal to 1 by F because you know that focal length is half of the radius of curvature. So my final equation is 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. Here is the derivation of mirror formula. So this is the proof of mirror formula. The object distance U, the image distance V and focal length F are connected using an equation called a mirror formula. Of course 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F, that equal to 2 by R because F is equal to R by 2. Under some terms and conditions the mirror formula is derived. Here are the terms and conditions. All are coaxial light rays, angles are very small. Then in that case tan theta can be approximated to theta, sin theta can be approximated to theta. As we need to substitute about tan, that's why we have used tan for tangent angle only, we didn't go for sine angle as there is no purpose. So this is all the derivation. Now we see even the derivation part of magnification. Let us see once you remember. Here we are going to discuss about magnification and its derivation. So here first of all you have learned even in the earlier class, while dealing with the magnification we come across 2 different situations like transversal magnification or lateral, and the second one is a linear magnification or longitudinal. I repeat, transversal magnification is also known as lateral magnification. When plane of the object is perpendicular to the principal axis, this is the principal axis, plane of the object is perpendicular to the principal axis. Then like this, this is the principal axis, the plane of object is perpendicular to principal axis. Then every point on the object will be equidistant from spherical mirror. So we call it as a transversal placement. Then we discuss the magnification as a transversal magnification or lateral magnification. But if a plane of the object is parallel to principal axis, then different points on the object will be at different distances from the pole. Then we discuss about linear magnification. Of course, you have learned in the earlier class, magnification is of 2 types, transversal magnification and linear magnification. Without mentioning simply the question is all about magnification. Default it is a transversal magnification, supposing the plane of the object is perpendicular to the principal axis, so that every point on the object will be equidistant from the pole of the mirror. That's the point. Anyway, here we are going to discuss even the derivation for transversal magnification. Of course, you can derive even the equation for linear magnification on using some advanced mathematical calculation part. Anyway, coming to the transversal magnification, the formula is the ratio of size of image to the size of the object. Transversal magnification is the ratio of image size to the object size. Whereas linear magnification formula is length of image by length of object. You take full forms. The ratio of length of image to the length of the object is called linear magnification. Just for your recollection, even I have given this type of explanation in the earlier class. Here this is F and this is C. Here there is an object. Here it is. There is an object. The object is placed so that it is along the principal axis and the object is AB. You can find its image in between C and F. You can find its image. But here as AB, this is, the image will be B dash and A dash. Because you can suppose I told you if A and B are the two ends of the object, suppose them as 2 point objects. As A is far away from the mirror, its image will be close. As B goes close, its image will be far. Because in the case of spherical mirrors, if object is moving in one direction, image moves in opposite direction. When the object is beyond C, image is in between C and F. When the object is at C, image will be at C. When the object is between C and F, image goes beyond C. Means if object is moving in one direction, the image moves in opposite direction in the case of spherical mirrors. So like that, as A is far away from the mirror, its image will be close. B is close to the mirror, its image will be far. Of course, as A and B are beyond C, A dash and B dash will be between C and F. Then, here this is length of object and here this is the length of the image. So the ratio of length of image to the length of object. What is meant by length of image? For our clarification I am explaining. What is meant by length of image in the numerator? And A dash, B dash. By length of object means AB. So in this particular case, as per our earlier discussion, we suppose A and B are two different point objects. We suppose the ends of the rod as two different point objects. Then length of AB nothing but UA minus UB. Object distance of A minus object distance of B, then I will get AB. Because A and B will be treated as two different point objects. Similarly, A dash and B dash treated as 2 point images, then length of image is VB dash minus VA dash. So that will be written as a delta V and this will be written as a delta V. So linear magnification is delta V by delta U. That's the formula for linear magnification. So when the object is placed along the principal axis, we discuss about the ratio of length of image to the length of object as linear magnification, delta V by delta V. This can be derived using differentiation. Mirror formula is 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. Differentiate with respect to time. Means d by dt of 1 by V plus 1 by U is equal to d by dt of 1 by F. I have told you mathematics and physics, which is a part of derivatives. So differentiating both sides with respect to time. Now here this can be written as a d by dt of 1 by V plus d by dt of 1 by U equal to 0 because the focal length is constant. Derivative of any constant is 0. Focal length of spherical mirror is constant with respect to time, so it is 0. Now here 1 by x derivative minus 1 by x square. But don't forget, it is not a d by dx. I repeat, here 1 by v, if it is a dv, then it is 1 by v square. But you are not differentiating with respect to v. If you are differentiating with respect to v, your answer is minus 1 by v square only. But v differentiating with respect to t. So in addition to minus 1 by v square, it is a dv by dt. Similarly, 1 by u minus 1 by u square, as it is with respect to time, it is a du by dt additional equal to 0. d by dv of 1 by v, your answer is minus 1 by v square, that's all. But here you are differentiating v with respect to time. So in addition to minus 1 by v square dv by dt, because 1 by x derivative minus 1 by x square. But with respect to time kabatti dv by dt. Again 1 by u derivative minus 1 by u square, but with respect to time, so du by dt equal to 0. Now if you simplify this here, minus 1 by v square into dv by dt equal to 1 by u square into du by dt. Now here dt dt if you cancel, dv by du is equal to minus v square by u square. Observe carefully. dv by du equal to minus v square by u square, which is linear magnification. Delta v nothing but dv, delta u nothing but du. So dv by du equal to minus v square by u square. But only the thing it is here, as it is the length of image to the length of the object, ultimately linear magnification will be taken as v square by u square. That's a linear magnification. Formula is v square by u square. V for image distance, u for object distance. Then linear magnification is v square by u square. So here one thing what you need to understand, dv by dt, dv is the v is image distance, dv by dt, rate of image distance with respect to time, which is image speed. Because the rate of distance with respect to time is called speed. dv by dt, image distance changing with respect to time, is nothing but image speed. So I can write minus 1 by v square into image speed equal to 1 by u square into object speed. Then image speed equal to minus v square by u square into object speed. This is an additional equation for image speed and object speed. In the case of spherical mirrors, let me write an additional equation here. Speed of image, this v indicates the speed, this v indicates image distance. Speed of image equal to minus v square by u square, image distance square by object distance square into speed of object. This is one more equation which you can derive. The relation between image speed and object speed can be derived on differentiating the mirror formula. So you have learned two derivations on the board. Derivation for linear magnification and a derivation for image speed in terms of object speed. This minus indicates if object is moving in one direction, image moves in opposite direction. I told you. So both are in opposite direction. That negative sign indicates object speed and image speed moving in opposite directions. So that image speed equal to minus v square by u square into v naught. V naught object speed, vi image speed. This v indicates image distance, this u indicates object distance. And here is the derivation. Of course you have to learn, but these things to be remembered. Now let us talk about a transversal magnification, which is very small point. That's why I have discussed first the lengthy part, which is very small part I have kept aside. Transversal magnification. Look at this diagrammatic representation. Here there is a concave mirror, principal axis, pole. Here, now I have placed an object in front of spherical mirror. There is an object AB. Let us suppose I have real inverted diminished image, which is A dash, B dash, let us suppose. And here, this is the light ray. And here, this is a reflector light ray. Incident light ray and reflector light ray. So that angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. A dash, B dash is the image, AB is the object. Now here, this is called the size of the object and this is called the size of the image. The ratio of image size to the object size is called magnification, which is a transversal magnification. Yes, that can be obtained using these two similar triangles. PAB, P A dash B dash, similar triangles. So I can write PA by PA by AB is equal to PA respective side is PA dash by AB respective side is A dash B dash. Ratio of similars. So that I can write A dash B dash by AB, A dash B dash by AB is equal to PA dash by PA. But here only very interesting sign convention. Size of object equal to plus AB because above the principal axis. Size of image equal to minus A dash B dash because below the principal axis. Next, object distance equal to PA minus object distance P to A minus image distance equal to P to A dash, which is minus. These are very important sign conventions. Now you take this equation and substitute the related values. A dash B dash means I can write minus HI by AB I can write plus HO is equal to PA dash I can write minus V because V equal to minus PA dash, then PA dash equal to minus V by PA, U equal to minus PA, then PA equal to minus U. Then here minus minus cancel, 1 minus is left. So size of image by size of object equal to, take this minus to other side, minus V by U, which is a transversal magnification, is the derivation here. As a transversal magnification is minus V by U, then V square by U square is nothing but MT square. Because MT, transversal magnification, is minus V by U. Minus V by U whole square can be written as V square by U square. So linear magnification is the square of a transversal magnification is an important conclusion. As a transversal magnification is the ratio of image size to the object size that is equal to minus V by U is the formula derivation. This is next. Linear magnification is the ratio of length of image to the length of object, then which is equal to delta V by delta U. According to this, delta V by delta U, change in image distance, change in object distance. Only one thing you need to remember while dealing with linear magnification, suppose the two ends of the object as two different point objects, then you can locate the images, point images, which gives the length of image and length of object. Then linear magnification is V square by U square, which is the square of a transversal magnification. This can be derived on differentiating 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F with respect to time. But in that process, we come to know the relation between image speed and object speed. Because dV by dt is the image speed, du by dt is the object speed. Because when x is the distance, dx by dt will give speed, derivatives. When x indicating distance, dx by dt is the speed. Then v indicates image distance, dv by dt is image speed. U indicates object distance, du by dt indicates object speed. So vi image speed, v not object speed. Then the relation is image speed equal to minus v square by u square into object speed. Of course, the derivations no one will ask you, conclusions. These are the proofs particularly. This all we have discussed in the earlier classes. But directly we have revised without the proofs. But these are the proofs. So what are the conclusions from this board? Transversal magnification is the ratio between size of image to the size of object, which is equal to minus V by U. Remember that. This is equal to minus V by U. Linear magnification is the ratio of length of image to the length of object, which is equal to square of the transversal magnification. Next, image speed equal to minus V square by U square into object speed. Minus indicates that the direction of motion of object and the direction of motion of image will be in opposite directions. So this particular class, we have dealt a little more mathematical part of derivations of mirror formula and magnification. Still, by this time, if you have any doubts, hope all get clarified with this particular class, I hope. Still, if you have any doubts, we discuss in the June class. Particularly, these are the derivations which is not required to by heart. Just you learn, that's it, how those things have been come on to the stage. Just you learn those derivations, nothing is there to by heart. But you need to remember all the conclusions, I mean formula for transversal magnification, linear magnification, and image speed in the case of spherical mirrors. These things to be remembered. Fine? Take care.